It's inspiring to be at Polaris. I love what you guys have done with this space and how it's not just a campus for a new kind of education, it's also a new kind of campus. We went to BITS and we had this thing called as PS1 and PS2, Practice School 1 and 2.
Yes.
Right? You do on-the-job training.
What a fantastic program that is. Yeah.
And I don't know why it's not been replicated and scaled.
So we do that.
I know you guys do, and which is great. You don't make school and engineering choices or university choices anymore backwards to say naukri lage ki nahi. Right? T-Hub is the largest home for startups in the world.
Nice.
We have 500 startups, 2100 desks. So, it's a co-working facility. What startups and startup teams should care about is that the technology talent that's coming in should be able to quickly train themselves.
So today we are chatting with Kavi, who's one of the most respected figures in the Indian startup ecosystem. He also heads T-Hub, which is one of the favorite programs for early stage founders to apply. So thank you for taking this chat, Kavi. A lot of parent and student community at Polaris will actually see this. So thanks.
It's awesome to be here. Thank you so much.
No, I assume that you like the campus and you had a great time so far.
No, look, T-Hub is in Hyderabad. It's always nice to come to Bangalore. I don't know if you know, but T-Hub is the largest home for startups in the world.
Nice.
We have 500 startups, 2100 desks. So, it's a co-working facility, but at the end of the day, what you also show at Polaris is without a real facility, without a place for people to collide, ideas to work, come together.
The right infra.
Yeah, the right infrastructure, nothing happens in our country and in many other parts of the world. So it's inspiring to be at Polaris. I love what you guys have done with this space and how it's not just a campus for a new kind of education, it's also a new kind of campus. So it was awesome to see it.
We want to make it experiential more than
I understand
just logistical, right? So you have scaled business in the past, you also scaled OYO. So when you were at OYO, there was a certain way how you were hiring people. This was probably 5 years back, pre-COVID or something like that, right? And today, how you see young startups actually hiring people, especially in the technology function. How do you think hiring standards have really changed, and what are today's companies, whether it's large companies or young companies, how are they thinking about hiring tech talent, and what delta are they looking for compared to past?
No, great question, Mukul. I think first of all, we have to acknowledge that hiring has fundamentally changed. It's not small things that have changed, and it will continue to change. I think acknowledging that is important, not just for companies, and not just for places like Polaris, but also for students and parents and everyone else involved. I think so. I spent 10 years at OYO, from 2014 till 24, 25, almost 10 plus years. And during that period, obviously, OYO went through ups and downs, a lot of scale, and we learned a lot. And hiring and people and the kind of folks who came in across functions was key to the kind of business you built.
Yeah, absolutely.
So it's the most important input, right? In addition to funding, right? If you think about it for a startup.
Capital and human capital.
Great way to put it. I think talent is one of when I look back at my time at OYO and all of us as leaders look back, it is one of the things we are mostly proud of, right? Most proud of. So coming to your question about how technology hiring and how that view on talent has changed, I would define it as primarily two things from a pure startup lens, right? High growth startup, early stage startup, whichever way you think about it. The first is people always hired people who are ready to go from the, so if you hire a 5-year, experienced engineer, or you hired a product leader or a product manager or product associate, you would expect them to come trained and they should hit the ground running. Right? That was always the expectation in a startup. There's no time for training, orientation, all of that stuff, right? That has changed now. Because what will you train them in? Because training is changing, what tools that you're using have changed, right? On a day-to-day basis. So the most important thing, the first big change that has happened is I think people need to come trained to be willing to train themselves.
Nice.
So the most interesting, high quality, high potential, young engineer or technology talent to hire for a startup is one who can teach themselves very quickly on the go on what the latest tool is. Imagine a small technology pod where there's a product associate, an engineer, maybe a UX designer, and imagine the pod manager saying, I would like you to go and try this new tool that Claude has launched.
Got it.
Those days are gone. You have to yourself know there are all these new tools and now you want to learn them.
Do you really think companies care if the incoming talent is AI proficient or not?
They care.
This is just hearsay?
They care, but what is AI readiness or AI proficient? Because AI tools are changing on a daily basis. We didn't have co-work a year and a half ago, I think, right? Yeah. And what's happening? We had Codex. But so I think what startups and startup teams should care about is that the technology talent that's coming in should be able to quickly train themselves.
Got it. So that
and quickly know what tools are out there.
Like 15 years back when I was a student, there was a lot of emphasis. I come from IIT Roorkee, and there were a lot of companies who would only hire people from IIT or IIMs or reputed legacy institutions. Do you also see that changing now, or is it still the same?
Look, I think I went to BITS Pilani. so not to an IIT, right? And I didn't study engineering. There's a very weird 4-year finance course that engineering school runs. That's what I studied. So I think we should remember that these schools have always been a stamp, a thappa, a way to filter talent, because it's so hard to get into these schools, right? So the reason companies say that we want to hire from there is because it's hard to get into those schools. But now let's think about from a startup's perspective. You just don't want the talent which has gone to the best schools. You want talent that makes choices that are non-linear.
Nice.
That are not obvious.
What do you mean by non-linear choices? Different choices, new choices.
New choices, different choices. Linear choices are इंजीनियरिंग किया, आईटी जाएगा, आईटी गया, गूगल जाएगा, गूगल गया, उसके बाद फिर बिजनेस स्कूल जाएगा, बिजनेस स्कूल के बाद कंसल्टिंग करेगा, कंसल्टिंग के बाद देखेंगे कब इसमें स्टार्टअप कहीं आया नहीं. Right, so at the end of the day, to go to a startup or a early stage interesting new big company, you want people who make a tangential, peripheral, non-linear choices. Non-linear choices define your ability to learn, your ability to take risk, your ability to be confident in a new environment, to handle chaos, to manage the unobvious patterns, right? And I think the choice of going to a school like Polaris, attempting with a new curriculum or many other such places. I mean, I worked for a founder who chose to not go to college.
Oh.
Ritesh did not go to college, right? And started a company as a dropout, right? These are all non-linear choices. And I think these choices matter because they teach you more than anything else. So does the brand of a university still matter? I think in some scenarios. But as the world of technology and the world of industry, which is now startups, startups are what? How many years old in India? If you look at Flipkart, Flipkart's 17 years old, right? 19, I think, 2007, right? So, and here we are, and it's, in Bangalore. So I think what matters is that people are ready, they're ready to go, they're ready to learn, they can train themselves, and with AI and everything else changing around us. So stamps matter, I think going to good schools matter, but everything else that's new and different also matters now. And I think that filter of saying only from these schools continues to get diminished on a daily basis. And I don't think it'll be as important as it used to be. Even though you went to IIT, I went to BITS, we can accept and say that.
We're both doing very different things to what we went there for. And
you're still you went to a technology school and you're still running a technology school. So
life full circle there.
I studied finance, I don't know what I'm doing now.
You're funding startups, life is again full circle for you.
Oh, interesting lens. I didn't think of it like that.
One last question every day. Like a lot of parents because parents are typically like in their 40s, and a lot of them don't have the exposure to AI and technology, while they keep hearing about the words, but they don't really exactly know what it means. And that is why they're very restrictive, or in terms of they're not as well prepared when it comes to deciding 4-year undergrad choice for their kids, because they're still thinking from a 30-year-old lens. What do you think, like, are they, and because you would have a lot of friends and colleagues who are now parents and whose kids will
they're at that precipice where they have to take those decisions.
So how are you seeing the aware and educated parents today take different choices about their kids' college education than before?
Look, I think first you have to acknowledge that making a different choice is very hard. Even today, you always want to take the safe bet, right? But I think there are a couple of things that are standing out. One is, in schooling itself, people have started choosing alternate curriculums. Right. So a lot of our peers, my peers, whose kids they made these decisions because during our time, at least my time, CBSE, ICSE state. Now you can choose between IB, Waldorf, so many other alternative methods exist, right? And it is parents who are making these choices. So I think that decision to do things differently is already begun, right? It's already started. And now when they hear about the words AI, everything else, and how everything around us is changing, you don't really have a choice. You have to either make the safe bet of sending them to an engineering school, right? Or you have to make the alternative bet of saying, let me teach you foundational skills and then we'll see where it goes from there, right? And I continue to believe the choices that parents are making today can be many different choices, but two things matter. The first is ensure that whichever school they go to, it could be undergrad or before, foundational skills are solid. I'll give you an example. I was talking to Avinash at Polaris about this today. We went to BITS and we had this thing called as PS1 and PS2, Practice School 1 and 2.
Yes.
Right? You do on-the-job training.
What a fantastic program that is.
And I don't know why it's not been replicated and scaled.
We do that.
I know you guys do, and which is great. I think real experience matters as part of your education. It's foundational. How do I understand a problem? How do I actually build a solution that's real, not a presentation, right? So I think whichever schools people choose, parents are now making this key choice of saying, let's teach them foundational skills. Like, I believe being street smart and being able to have a conversation is foundational, right? In technology, being able to understand a problem, build a solution that can make sense, and willing to fail at that solution, and thanks to tools today we can do that, is foundational. So I think that's the one pattern
that's
which matter,
which is foundational over
The second, which I
Tradition.
think is very interesting, is you don't make school and engineering choices or university choices anymore backwards to say naukri lage ki nahi. Right? So you always wanted to know, will this person get placed or not? Because unfortunately or fortunately, the understanding of what schooling should lead to or undergrad should lead to is an immediate job has now changed. And now I think parents are willing to accept that that's not the ultimate outcome. The ultimate outcome is learning and their own ability to find themselves a job or to work for a startup or who cares? Start a company.
New age parents are more thinking about campus education as a career, not just a job school.
As a stepping
Or a
stone,
pathway.
For career readiness,
Yeah.
and not for job and placement readiness.
Which is basically saying they're playing the long run and not for short term gratification.
That's one way to put it. Because that's what they've seen in their experiences. All people like us and around us, you said you're 35, you're turning 35?
Yeah, I'm
Should I not give your age away?
No, I'm turning 35 next month. Before this is out, I'll turn.
And I'll
still be 34 by the time this comes out. So
I just turned 42 last month.
Yeah, nice.
So people in this 10-15 year gap, many people and peers around us did not go through linear patterns.
Yeah.
Right? And hence they're willing to do all of these things.
So
and that's what I see.
The bolder the choice you take today, the more non-linear and the more exponential outcome can you get after 10 years.
Choose foundational education for anything and everything because we don't know how the world and the job world and everything else is going to change over studying for one specific thing or for finding a job.
Perfect. That's a great way to put it and end it up. Thank you, Kavi. Thanks a lot.
Thanks a lot,
Have a nice
Mukul.
day.
Thanks.
Bye-bye.
Good being here.